If we take a moment to notice, several new characters released in recent patches are units whose damage scales off max HP, such as Mayday and the upcoming Castorice. They greatly benefit from any buffs related to increasing max HP. However, at the moment, only a few units can provide this support for them. And I feel that the HP buffs they offer are not significant enough to drastically change the damage output of Mayday, Castorice, or even Blade. So far, there hasn't been a unit that provides buff related to HP reduction or consumption, but recently HYACINE's drip marketing has been released, and rumors suggest that she will be a healer perfectly suited for units that frequently consumes their own HP, or even their allies' HP. Yep, in this video I'll be discussing HYACINE's early kits, so make sure to watch until the end. Disclaimer, this is still very early information, and I will provide updates with a new video once HYACINE's Beta V1 is released. So without further ado, let's get started. HYACINE is a 5-star Wind Remembrance character. As expected, like all Remembrance units, HYACINE is accompanied by a MEMO sprite in battle. As seen in her stage art, her companion is a small, adorable unicorn named Ika. HYACINE and Ika fight alongside their allies by providing sustain through HP restoration. But that's not all, Ika also contributes by dealing AoE damage to enemies and benefiting more from healing if it has high speed. Beyond just HP recovery, HYACINE also provides defensive utility, such as increasing effect resistance for the entire team and boosting max HP. This makes her a strong candidate as a support unit that will likely work well with Castorice and Mayday. As usual, her basic attack is not particularly special, it simply targets a single enemy, deals wind damage, and scales off her max HP. When using her skill, HYACINE heals the entire team, excluding Ika if it's already on the battlefield, based on a certain percentage of her max HP. At the same time, she summons Ika if it hasn't been summoned yet, and grants it a small amount of healing upon arrival. This means Ika's HP will not be full when it is first summoned, likely around 50%. HYACINE's utility that grants a max HP buff comes from her ultimate. When activated, she gains a specific buff that lasts for several turns. The exact name and duration of this buff are still unknown, but its effect is clear. It increases the max HP of the entire team on the battlefield. Aside from that, her ultimate functions similarly to her skill. It heals all allies, excluding Ika, and summon Ika if the unicorn is not yet present. So if you plan to pull for HYACINE mainly to buff your DPS HP, keep in mind that this buff comes from her ultimate, and as of now, her energy cost is still unknown. So what does Ika do when its turn arrives? Ika performs AoE attack against all enemies. However, if an ally's HP falls below a certain percentage, maybe possibly 50% or lower, Ika will consume its own HP to heal the entire party. This emergency healing ability may feel familiar, as it resembles Lingsha's Rabbit, but with a key difference. Lingsha's talent-based healing only activates once every few turns, whereas Ika can continuously perform this healing whenever an ally is low on HP, as long as Ika has enough HP to spare. For HYACINE's talent, every time she or Ika provides HP recovery, Ika's damage will increase by X%. This effect can stack up to X times, but the duration of these stacks is still unknown. So basically, the more you perform a healing, the higher the damage of her MEMO sprite. This also means that HYACINE will become a very aggressive healer unit thanks to this talent. To maintain consistent damage and maximize HYACINE's potential as an aggressive healer, you may need to consider crit rate or crit damage as part of her build. This could make character building more difficult compared to standard healers. Or could it be that critical stats are not necessary at all? Let's move on to discuss her traces then. As I mentioned earlier in the previous section, HYACINE might seem like a difficult healer to build, because you need to consider critical stats as well. However, it turns out to be much easier once we look at Trace 1. When this trace is unlocked, all of Ika's attacks will be guaranteed to crit. There's no mention of a fixed critical damage value, which means we can assume that crit damage is one of the most important stats for Ika, aside from HP and speed. If Ika's damage multiplier is high, this could significantly boost the team's overall damage output. HYACINE will also be a very fast unit. With Trace 2, if her speed exceeds 200, then every additional point of speed further increases her outgoing healing. Because of this, a certain planar ornament might be a perfect fit for her, or it might even be specifically designed for HYACINE. However, there's still no information on how much extra healing is gained per additional speed point, or what the maximum limit is. This makes it hard to estimate HYACINE's ideal speed stat. Additionally, her kit so far doesn't mention any self-speed boost, which raises an important question. How do we even reach 200 speed if we rely only on relic stats? It's unlikely that HYACINE will have an extremely high base speed, like 150 or more. HYACINE can also increase effect resistance for the whole team by X%. However, it's still unclear whether this buff is always active or if it requires certain conditions such as using her skill or ultimate. In my opinion, this buff should be at least 50% or more, because if you have been following HYACINE's kit so far, she doesn't provide a cleanse effect, which is a crucial part of a healer. The situation is similar to Gallagher during his beta phase. Initially, he did not have any cleanse ability at all, but as more beta updates rolled out, they finally gave him a cleanse effect, even though it was locked behind his Eidolon too. Even if a HYACINE only grants 50% effect resistance, it might not be enough. If you have used Aventurine, you will know that his shield grants 50% effect resistance, yet players can still get hit by crowd control effects fairly often. Well, let's hope that in HYACINE's full kit release, she gains the ability to cleanse debuffs. Unfortunately, her technique and Eidolons are still unknown in this early kit, but we do have information on her signature light cone. Let's talk about it next. HYACINE's signature light cone provides several effects to any character from the Remembrance path. First, every user of this light cone will get an increase in speed. After that, every time the user activates a basic attack, skill, or ultimate, they will consume the team's HP by X%. When the MEMO sprite of the LC user uses its skill, the enemy's damage taken or vulnerability will increase for a duration that is still unknown. HYACINE's kit as a supporter for Mayday and Castorice is actually not fully complete without her signature light cone, because this is where her full potential as a healer for HP draining unit lies. But who else can use this LC? Actually, this LC also can be used by other Remembrance characters. Of course, not Aglia, but RMC. Speed is also a stat that RMC appreciates, while at the same time, Mayday and Castorice will also be happy if they are in the same team as RMC, using HYACINE's LC. Because as you know, RMC has a very strong synergy with these two units. If you don't really like HYACINE but have units with HP draining mechanics, like Blade, Castorice, and Mayday, you can actually pull only for HYACINE's signature light cone. Use it or RMC and use another healer like Gallagher, which should already be enough. Additionally, Gallagher has the ability to cleanse, so players will feel much safer. Speaking of Blade, I think this LC along with HYACINE will be a huge upgrade for him, since HYACINE will have high speed and take more frequent turns. Just by using basic attacks, the party HP consumption effect from this LC can already be activated, which means Blade's talent stacks will fill up quickly, allowing him to generate an infinite amount of follow-up attacks. But of course, this still needs further testing. So what exactly sets HYACINE apart from the other healers in the game? The uniqueness of HYACINE lies in her niche role as a healer for DPS units who have HP draining kits that scale with HP. This is especially true for her ultimate, where she can provide a max HP buff to the entire team, though the exact value is still unknown. However, if activating the ultimate is necessary to get that HP buff, I'm sure the amount will be significant enough to make a difference. Not only that, but HYACINE can also contribute significant damage. By using relics with strong stats, she can help boost the team's damage output thanks to her MEMO sprite attacks, which will always crit. Other than that, she's essentially only a healer who can restore a lot of HP while also contributing higher damage compared to other abundance units. Overall though, HYACINE's kit still feels a bit incomplete. For example, we are missing information on Ika's base speed, or how she might get speed boosts from her own kit. Meeting her speed requirements could be difficult if you are only relying on stats or speed buffs from other characters. Additionally, HYACINE still lacks a cleanse effect, which raises some doubts for players about whether she's truly worth pulling. I mean, we are already in 3.2 to 3.3, and every healer should have a cleansing ability as a baseline by now, if they don't want to fall behind compared to other units. Other than that, HYACINE seems like a decent unit outside her niche. If you wanted her to be more flexible, we would probably hope that Ika's damage is very high, so she could be useful in other team composition as well. So that's my early kit analysis of HYACINE. Once again, this is still very early and has not even passed V1 beta yet. What do you all think of HYACINE's kit so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you liked the video and found it helpful, please support the creator by hitting the like and subscribe buttons for more content. I can't wait to see you all again soon, and see you guys in my next video.